O'Reilly's talents as a writer went far beyond journalism, and of course he was a renowned poet who won all kinds of plaudits from the Yankee literati here in Boston. But he also was a fiction writer, and in 1876, O'Reilly decided to write a novel that would be an expose of the horrors and the inhumanity that was characteristic of British prisons, and indeed prisons worldwide. What he did through this novel was to show that the kind of Benthamite model of very, very strict discipline and isolation, solitary confinement, and hard labor didn't do anything to reform people. In fact, he called prisons seminaries of crime. The other thing that's clear in this novel is that Riley's belief that many prisoners were there not because of any kind of evil intents that they had, but because they were victims of social misery and such dire poverty that they committed crimes which landed them in their spot. So he had a really kind of modern sociological approach to looking at what needed to be done for prison reform. O'Reilly had a very, very firm commitment to civil and human rights. And this was something that certainly he was focused on in relation to calling out discrimination against Catholics and against Irish. But what was unique about O'Reilly was his great work as a champion for African American human rights and civil rights. As early as 1873, he used his pen in the Pilot to condemn what was happening to African Americans in this country. And initially, while he kind of adopted the gradualist approach of Frederick Douglass of self-help and moral uplift, a trip to the South in 1885 convinced O'Reilly that a more aggressive approach was necessary. Now, it wasn't just the African Americans that O'Reilly championed. He also was had great sympathy for the plight of the of Native Americans, and was one of the few people who was willing to be very critical of General Custer and to try to show the reasons for Indian rebellions in the western part of the United States. And certainly, as far as the huddled masses that were in American cities and working in factories and mines, O'Reilly defended their right to organize unions, and while he did not like strikes because of their economic damage to the families, when in the 1870s, when there was a very serious strike in Scranton, and the owners would not give way, O'Reilly backed them up fiercely. The one area of civil rights where O'Reilly kind of fell down was his opposition to female suffrage. And I think there were a number of reasons for this. Some of it was ideology. Some of it was a result of his Catholic religious belief. It was a result of his kind of idealization of women, and that they should be protected from the kind of hurly-burly life of political activity. But there was also another aspect of that, and that was that O'Reilly saw through the school committee elections in Boston that Protestant people had advocated women's suffrage as a way to minimize the power of the Irish vote. And he felt that if female suffrage came, that would tend to reverse some of the electoral power that the Irish, now getting very, very politicalized in the 1880s, would not be able to fulfill. So there were very practical reasons why he adopted that particular stance.